first and foremost, thank you guys for having me out here in your neck of the woods. I've been to 26 states so far, and North Carolina is just as great as all the other 25 I've been to. In fact, I was just saying how beautiful this state is to drive through because you got farmland, rivers and streams, you got the mountains, you got all that good stuff out there. So I'm very much enjoying my time in North Carolina, but I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about who I am, what my campaign's all about. If you don't know who I am, my name's Chase Oliver. I am a candidate to be the Libertarian nominee for U.S. President 2024, and I'm hoping to earn your support as delegates here in North Carolina. I want to tell you a little bit about where I came from, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this campaign, where we're going to go as a party. I got started in the Liberty Movement because I was an anti-war activist originally. That's what got me started in politics. 9/11 happened when I was in high school, and I saw the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, and I knew they were wars based. A lot of it was based on lies,
yes.
And we needed to bring the troops home immediately, and we didn't do that, so I became an anti-war activist. Now, because of this, I did not know about the wonderful party that is the Libertarian Party. So reflexively, because George Bush was a Republican, I became a Democrat. Now, I was a gun-loving Democrat, I was a balance-the-budget Democrat, I was a fair tax Democrat. Didn't really make me the most popular Democrat in the room, but I continued to fight against the war machine. And in 2007, I thought between Hillary Clinton, who's a clear war hawk, and this new guy, Barack Obama, well, he must be the peace candidate. So I fought really, really hard to get Barack Obama elected, and you know, he said he was gonna, you can boo and hiss if you like, but he said some things to me. He said, we're gonna end the wars. We're gonna close Guantanamo. We're gonna meet with our enemies and talk to them. And we're going to end the drone wars. He didn't do any of that, but he still got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I pieced out of the Democratic Party. I said, no more will I be supporting this war machine. I don't want the blue war machine or the red war machine in office. And so I became politically homeless. Until lo and behold, the Libertarian Party of Georgia was doing outreach at the Atlanta Pride Festival. I'm LGBT, of course. I was enjoying some time at Pride, having a drink in my hand. And John Mons, our candidate for governor that year, literally waved me into the tent. And he talked to me a little bit about what he was talking about, and he said, you know, this is now 2010. He said, the Republican Party is not here because they actively campaign against your community and use it as a wedge politic to earn votes. The Democrats will pay you lip service, but their candidate for governor isn't here because he's scared he'll lose suburban voters if he's around the gays. He said, I'm here on principle. I don't care if I gain or lose a vote because I'm here. I'm here to tell you, libertarians support your right to be who you are in peace. And he said, what's your biggest concern? And I said, I oppose the war on terror, I oppose the war machine, I oppose all that stuff. And he said to me, welcome home. He held the tent door open for me. I walked in, and over time, I became more and more and more libertarian. But it was because somebody took the time to open up the tent, so to speak. I like to use the religious language here, so that I could get in the revival tent and hear from the preacher himself. And that was John Mons. He was the guy who brought me in. So I want to keep using this metaphor here, because I want to talk about where we're going to go as a party. I want to be our nominee because I know I can be a great pastor at the pulpit at this revival for liberty. I know I can preach the gospel of liberty in a way that resonates with people who aren't hardcore libertarians yet. Because when you're at a revival, are you preaching to the choir behind you, or are you preaching out to the public and bringing them in? And that's what we need to be doing. We need to have a party that's a landing place for the overwhelming number of dissatisfied voters out there who see Republicans and Democrats as bad choices all around. We have to be a welcoming home for them. And that means giving them a message that is based on our principles, but delivered in a style that resonates and that connects. And so I'm trying to run, there's 3 ways to run a campaign. You can run as a hardcore policy wonk where you say, here, read this 300-page book on economics, it'll solve all your problems. No one will read them, it will be very hard to break through, you will be ignored. You can run based on fear and hatred of the other. And that works for a short time, but it burns itself out. See the Donald Trump movement of 2016, and now it has been reduced to basically ashes in this election. He's a minority of his own base now, and getting indicted because he's done some shady stuff, allegedly. So there's the third way to run a campaign, and that's positive, aspirational, hopeful campaign. Let's not only talk about how bad the state is. Everybody knows that. We got to talk about how great liberty is, how wonderful the message of liberty is for parents out there who want to have more control over their children than the government. It's the message of liberty out there for business owners who want to be able to start a small business, jump in this free market, and start competing tomorrow instead of being jumped into a corporate-controlled, over-regulated system that makes it where they can't even compete against the big guys. We have to be delivering an aspirational message of liberty that says we don't need to have a military footprint all over the world. We need to have a marketplace footprint all over the world. Because when people trade with each other, they don't shoot at each other. And so if I'm our nominee, we'll be talking about a message of peace, prosperity, and freedom all around for each and every person. If you are not harming another person, you should be able to live your life the way you see fit, even if I don't personally like it. And that needs to be the message we deliver to each and every voter, that you own your destiny, you own your sovereignty, you own your life, not the government. And so I hope you guys can join me in this fight. I hope you can join me in this revival of the liberty gospel so that we can really break through and bring new members in. Now it's not just the pastor that does all that work. You got the deacons on the outside of the tent handing people flyers and bringing people in. Well, that's what our candidates are all over the country. Now you guys have a gubernatorial primary coming up. I got to hang out with one of the candidates. We got another candidate right here. I encourage you in this process to ask both of them lots of questions, to really dig down deep and find out who you prefer. I'm not going to give a preference here because I'm not from North Carolina. It's not my place to tell you who to vote for to be your candidate for governor. But regardless of who it is, I know they're both wonderful people, and I know this primary is actually going to be prominence to your party. So I want to say that's awesome, that you guys are going to grow because of this. Just make sure that you guys stay respectful of one another, and that's a promise I'm going to make during this process. I'm going to be respectful of the people who I'm competing with for my nomination, because iron sharpens iron. And I want to be our nominee, but if for some reason I'm not, I don't want to be damaging our nominee by fighting him in the primary process. I want to be able to lift them up on the day that myself or they win the nomination, right? And so I hope all of us can take that to heart. That the best way that we're going to win is through love, empathy, and positivity. If you want to check out my website and learn more in depth about my issues or ask me about them right here, feel free to. It's at votechaseoliver.com. Lastly, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing the next little bit. Because we are fundraising right now, and this is the part where I ask you for money, because if I don't do that, I'm not doing my job. But right now, we have a unique opportunity for this party. I have been invited to speak at the Iowa State Fair at the Iowa Soapbox stage. I am the first non-Republican or Democrat who is running for president who has ever been invited to do that. And so we're trying to make an impact at that event. We're trying to raise $5,000. Right now we're trying to raise $5,000 for this event. Why? Because we want to have maximum impact. Because regardless of if it's me or another libertarian, this gives our party prominence. This is a unique opportunity, not just for me in this campaign, but for the Libertarian Party. So if you like what you hear today, I encourage you to please go to votechaseoliver.com and give. We're already 10% of the way to our goal of $5,000. Every dollar makes a difference. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this little get together here. I'm about to go get me some food. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of listening. Awesome.
Hey, and Chase is the podcast guest coming on this weekend. He was awesome. I kept him on for like 90 minutes. Great.